Hello everybody and welcome back to the TripleJump Podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
And my name is Peter.
Peter, It's an exciting week for video games.
Is it?
It's all kicking off with a CK.
Whoa.
Kicking off.
With both of the K sounds.
With the curly K and the kicking K.
Kicking K.
It's kicking K off this week. We've got the Star Worms. We've got the Pocket Monsters.
We have.
We've got Death Stranding looming over our heads like some big...
I am out now.
Weird albatross,
yes.
inky albatross.
Oh, God.
That people can't work out whether it's okay to not like it or not. That seems to be the general consensus. Is you can not like it, but it's whether or not you should be allowed to not like it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, and I do wonder if this is a whole kettle of fish we've got to go into later, but I do wonder whether there are some people out there who kind of they look at it and they're like, I don't really actually like this game, but I better just say that I do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people will think I'm not clever.
We'll see. I've played it. I played a couple of hours of it. We'll be streaming it this week, and we'll talk about it properly later on. But
some people do genuinely love it, though.
Wow. Anyway, before we get started, it's time to talk about our sponsor for this week.
Yes.
Oh, my tummy just rumbled. Did that pick
I hope
up?
it's a food sponsor.
It's sadly not.
Oh, no.
But there's food there. This week, the podcast is brought to us by the Galar Region Tourism Board.
Okay.
The Galar region is a new region in the Pocket Monster universe, and if you come here, you'll get all the Corblimey experiences that you could possibly handle.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to battle Pokemon in a grimy alleyway? What about under a bridge or in a field? Mm-hmm. Have you done that before? I don't think so. Not with the charm and the wit and the swear words that you can experience in the Galar region. Perhaps you want... Oh, my tummy went...
Really hungry.
Really, I had a biscuit already.
Oh. Well, sometimes that can set you off, though. You have just one little thing. It's like, yeah, more please now, please, thanks.
It's unacceptable, really. I'm trying to do my sponsor. Did it again. The Galar region is also chock full of Mary Poppinses.
Is it?
Yes. There's a new Pokemon called Mary Poppins.
Right.
She is always a she.
Yeah.
And she flies around with an umbrella that's actually part of her arm.
Does she evolve from Bert Chimchimney?
Yeah, there's Bert Chimchimney.
He's got a chimney brush turns into the umbrella.
That's a different evolutionary chain. There's Bert Chimchimney, Bert Chimchimney, and then Bert Chimchimcharu.
Chimchimchari, yeah.
So that's a three-way, and to get the last one you have to trade it.
Right.
But with Mary Poppins, she doesn't evolve. She's just called Mary Poppins, and she doesn't have an arm. It's like a grotesque Resident Evil monster.
Right.
Where instead of an arm, it's just an umbrella that protrudes from her bicep.
With a talking parrot's head on the elbow.
It's really...
Yeah.
It's horrible. You've also got the other evolutionary chain where it's Mr. Blobby, is what he's called. He's an offshoot from Mr. Mime. He's like the Galar region version of Mr. Mime. You know how you got variants in Alola? In the Alolan region, you'd get like an icy Vulpix instead of a fire Vulpix. So instead of Mr. Mime, you get Mr. Blobby.
Right.
And he does actually evolve, unlike Mr. Mime. He evolves into...
Noel Edmonds' legal case.
Noel Edmonds. He just evolves into Noel Edmonds.
Right.
But a status effect that can be inflicted upon him is his legal battle with Lloyd's Bank for some reason. And the final evolution is the red phone from Deal or No Deal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The banker.
Yeah, it's just called the banker and it's a little red phone. It's unconventional because they don't really look like each other, but they do sound similar.
Yeah.
When he comes out, he just goes, Blobby. And then the other one is, no, I'm going to sue you. And then the last one is...
I'll give you £63,000.
Yeah, I've never watched Deal or No Deal.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the Galar region is very exciting. It's available to visit right now in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
And they do have food there because Sirfetch'd has the biggest goddamn onion leek sword you've ever seen in your life.
I bet that would make a really good soup. I know you're not a fan, but I reckon that would make a real good soup.
Just a leek chopped up into pulp.
But of course, while the Galar region is real, that sponsor is a lie.
Ah,
it's a lie. We got you. We got you
every
again.
time. Don't do that. Oh no, you've knocked over. Hang on, this is Did you just buy the cardboard thing just to pretend that you own the game?
No,
you did.
I played it.
No, you just bought the card. You went on eBay and said, Death Stranding. For those of you not watching the video version of this podcast, what are you doing? Go and watch it now.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me as I slid it across the table.
No, what are you doing?
Was I not
Don't
meant
touch that.
I tried to flip the table and our cardboard sleeve that Death Stranding came in fell over. No, I've got it. It's real.
Yeah, you have.
No, the stream was all a fever dream. It was a shared experience.
A fever stream.
Yeah, that sponsor is not real. Our real sponsors are the wonderful folks over at patreon.com/Team TripleJump, where if you support us at any tier, even $1, you are allowed to submit questions for this very podcast. As such, all podcast questions are taken from Patreon.
Yes, they are.
Including this first one from Molly McDade.
Molly McDade.
Molly McDade.
Who is a Molly McWriter for us.
She is. Sounds like a McDonald's character.
Molly McWriter.
Molly McWriter.
Yeah.
Ronald McWriter.
The new Sonic trailer was just released. What are your thoughts? And then Molly's answer to that question in brackets is, I don't know if it'll necessarily be good, but seeing 90s Jim Carrey again should be fun. So yeah, the new Sonic trailer is out. It's got some new footage we didn't see in the previous one, but crucially, it's got a whole new Sonic in it.
He's a whole new boy.
He is. And God, does he look better. And God, does the old one look even worse by comparison.
Yeah, the fingers.
Yeah.
The white hands that
The
he
teeth.
had. Yeah.
So strange.
The eyes, that just all of it was wrong.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people now suddenly getting really excited for this film. I still think it looks a little bit kind of conceited. It just looks like
It's gonna be like the Ratchet and Clank film.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be for kids. It's not
like
gonna
pixels.
be very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Pixels.
Might not be that bad. But so I still look at that and think, okay, well, this is a sort of forced video game movie. But I also agree that Jim Carrey is being 90s Jim Carrey again for the first time in a long time, since he had kind of a bit of an epiphany about himself. Have you seen? There's some really interesting stuff about where he said that he felt like he was playing a character even when he was just on talk shows, or like just not an actor, but like when he was just Jim Carrey, that was all an act.
He probably went off. He properly went off the deep end, didn't he? On several occasions. Have you seen the documentary about when he played Andy Kaufman?
I've not seen the documentary, but I've heard about it.
It's just bonkers, like
crazy method acting.
Well, yeah, but he thought he was him.
Well, yeah.
So it's just
he
like
told everyone to call him that on set and stuff.
It's difficult to draw the line between method acting and mental illness.
Well,
at that point.
yeah,
and
you're right.
It's hard to tell. I mean, he seems to be better now, so I'm really happy about that because I love Jim Carrey.
Exactly. I mean, that's
lots
why
of people, but
why I bring it up is that it's nice to now see him seemingly, happy enough in a role, and it does very much seem to be the kind of Ace Ventura, Riddler mask kind of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, overacting.
Yeah,
big faces, loud noises. Well, one of the things that's come out about this, actually, have you heard of Tyson Hesse or Hesse?
Rings a bell.
So he was the guy who was pivotal in the redesign of Sonic, and it's sort of come out recently that the reason that this Sonic redesign is so much more competent is because he was involved. So for people who are unfamiliar, he's sort of been a long-time Sonic fan and supporter, so much so that he would make his own sort of fan videos and animations, and then he started working officially on some of the runs of comics, the Sonic comics, the Sonics. And he did the animated intro to Sonic Mania a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
If people are familiar with that, and that's a fantastic video that everyone should go and watch. But he was brought in to help redesign Sonic, and that's part of the reason why it's so good.
God.
There's always going to be a tinfoil hat wearing part of me that thinks, did they know it was Did they leak that stand and that poster all that time ago just to gauge interest, saw the backlash, thought, right, let's go all in on this? It's very difficult to turn an entire movie ship around at the last minute.
Yeah, well, so this is what a lot of people are now saying on social media, that, it was all intentional. They released the terrible version. They probably didn't even have that terrible version of Sonic for all of the footage that they didn't show, if you see what I mean. They essentially did a cut for that trailer with a bad Sonic in it, but the good one was already in there. I don't think that's true. I think it's an interesting idea, and it's nice to be able to say, corporations and big studios and the conglomerates are doing tricksy things. But I think there would be too much of a risk. Like, it still could have been, no matter how good this redesign was, the response could just have been, well, yeah, but it's too little too late, isn't it? Or, it could have just sort of tinged the whole thing with, yeah, well, he looks better now, but I can't get that bad taste out of my mouth. So I think that's too much of a risk to deliberately release an ugly-ass Sonic and then be like, hey, we fixed it now. Now you want to see this movie, right?
One thing I would say is that brands don't care about you and what you want. They care about their money. So as you said, it still kind of looks like it's going to be a bad video game film. But it's kind of genius because people will feel catered to and heard, and they will, even if they didn't want to see it before, they'll either want to see it now because, oh, wow, look how much better it looks, even though it's the same film.
Yeah.
Or it'll be a case or a combination of, well, I feel a sense of loyalty and I feel like I should support this company now because they listened to our complaints and they changed things for us.
Right.
They don't care about what you want. They care about making money. They'll pretend to care, and that's clearly what they've done. So I'd just say the Sonic movie is going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good. The fact that it's got a better looking Sonic is great because what came before was some eldritch horror that should never have been unleashed upon the world. But it doesn't mean that the film's going to be good. So please temper your expectations and don't feel like you have to go and see it.
And it doesn't mean that they care about you that much. They would not go to the expense of redesigning and re-CGing Sonic just because you were unhappy. They would do it because you were unhappy and therefore they were concerned they might not make enough money.
Yeah.
But not just because you were unhappy.
We aren't the only people who are cynical though, Peter.
No?
We now go to Kotaku.
Oh my god.
Kotaku. In a tweet last night, translated by DualShockers, Sonic's original creator, Yuji Naka, said that the design is much more Sonic-like now he's wearing gloves. However, his eyes still aren't joined together as expected. I can't help but feel weird about that one point. Amusingly, Naka seems to have had some weird fascination with the original design. In an earlier tweet, he said, "It seems they're making it as if the old design didn't exist, as the movie official account's old tweets were deleted. I want to see a special DVD version of the movie which used the old design. Too bad."
I've heard that. Yeah, he suggested that they release the old design.
I mean, that is one that I would go and see.
Yeah,
if they now release the old version, I mean, God, you can never proof that you can never please everyone.
No.
Ironically, I would now like to see the horror version of this Sonic film.
I think I'd be more like, because when we first saw that trailer, I was thinking, God, I do have a sort of...
It's like must-see car crash.
I really have to watch that. Now that they've fixed it, I'm like, well, it's just a Sonic movie for sort of kids. I mean, I'm not that interested anymore, other than maybe for Jim Carrey. But yeah, I would have been more likely to watch the car crash. So yeah, they should do. If they know what's good for them, if all that footage... If the entire film was already done and it just exists somewhere, they may as well release it.
I think so. As a special feature or something.
Yeah.
You just toggle old Sonic on and off.
You can press a button live throughout the entire film.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that. It's sort of fixed, but don't go and see it because it'll still be a waste of money.
Absolutely not.
It's time for a groundbreaking segment we've never done before.
What?
It's called Whoa. Don't know if that picked up on the microphone, but it sounds like whoa whoa puh is at the door. Should we go and let him in?
Let him in.
It's time for What We Playing, Peter. Peter, what you playing?
I've been playing the Spyro 2s.
On the Reignited?
On Reignited, yeah. So just as I mentioned, I think 2 podcasts ago, I, on a whim, partly while I was just waiting for an update to download and install on my PlayStation, I played Spyro 1 for a little bit. I ended up completing it the following day. I was only going to just play it for that session, but I went back to it and finished it.
Nice.
And then...
so you finished all of Spyro 2?
I finished all of Spyro 1 in a couple of days.
Wow.
And then this week I've been thinking, man, I quite enjoyed playing Spyro 1 the other day. So I ended up just starting Spyro 2, even though I've played it a lot and I've got so many games to play, and for some reason I'm not playing them because I just had had a little craving for my Purple Dragon Boy.
The way, though, isn't it?
It is.
Like, new games will be coming out, and you think, I kind of want to play a bit more WWE 2K20, and I don't know why. Why can I not stop?
So Star Wars is coming out. Time of publishing this podcast, Star Wars will be out, so I'll be playing that a lot now. I also, on my last live stream, played some Tomb 2, the PS1 game, which... was sort of voted for a bit in my poll.
Yes.
And I was like, some people might watch this, I suppose. And then I sat and played it anyway, even though it wasn't the most popular choice in the poll. And people seem to really quite enjoy it, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of people,
one of your favourite games.
It is. It's up there. Yeah, definitely. And the thing I took away from it was the number of comments that said, this game isn't what I expected it to be. I think a lot of people thought it would just be some basic, we can say bitch, can't we? Bitch.
Whoa, we're talking about the dog.
Basic female dog 3D platformer. But it's 2.5D. It's got some interesting like quests and things. And I think Whoopee Camp, who made it, are an Eastern company. It certainly has sort of anime vibes, and the dialogue reads like it was translated from Japanese.
Right.
So yeah, I think it took some people by surprise, but that's nice, and I'm enjoying it. Might even go back to it in a few weeks' time when Star Wars is done. But that's what I've been playing.
Wonderful. I was amazed I'd say amazed. That's putting it way too strongly. I was astounded. I was really intrigued to see that the stylization of the title. Tomby ! And then 2 afterwards. It just reads strangely, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Feels like the exclamation mark should be after the 2.
It's really weird, especially when we go live, the push notification that people get on Twitch has an exclamation mark at the end. I didn't include it this time.
Tomby! 2!
Yeah. TripleJump have gone live with Tomby! 2! exclamation mark. So I removed one of them from that. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I've been playing... I played...
Borderlands.
Hey, how dare you? How dare you attack me like that?
That's not an attack, it's a guess.
No, it's true. I played a tiny bit of Borderlands the other night. I'm literally going map to map and mopping various small things up now.
You're doing a map mop?
I'm doing a map up. The platinum is in my sights, but will not be mine for a while because Death Stranding The Outer Worlds, which I still haven't gone back to, and Pokemon, which is out tomorrow at the time of recording.
And WWE.
And WWE 2K20, which I just can't tear myself. No, I put that... when you play... Right, I've got all my games organized in folders on my PS4.
Yeah.
I've now consigned WWE 2K20 to a folder.
Right.
So when I first start playing a new game, I keep it out of the folder so it's there and easily accessed. Now it's in a folder, so I'm less likely to go, oh yeah, I should, I'm an idiot and I should play this stupid game. I can't do that anymore without having to jump through a hoop, which I'm hoping is enough to stop me.
Yeah.
So yeah. Haven't played much Borderlands, but I did have my Dark Souls 3 weekend I talked about.
Yes, you did.
On the podcast last week, so I had some friends up with the aim of playing through Dark Souls 3 from start to finish. I love Dark Souls 3. Good balance between Bloodborne and Dark Souls, in my opinion. Faster, more frenetic, very pretty gameplay alterations and changes that actually make sense. So now you have you start with very few Estus flasks to heal yourself, and you collect more as you go by finding key items in certain areas, and you have to allot them between your regular Estus and your blue Estus. And your blue Estus heals your magic. So if you don't use magic at all, then it's fine.
Right.
You just put it all into your regular gold one. But if you want to use magic, you have to get a decent balance. And when you're summoned in as a co-op partner, it splits the amount of Estus you have down the middle.
Oh.
And it rounds down if you have an odd number of Estus.
Oh, God.
So to begin with, you're going into...
every excuse to be difficult and unfair.
But it's great, though, because it really motivates you to be careful and sensible and, it creates tension that wouldn't normally necessarily be there. So to begin with, you're like, right, okay, I've come in, I've been an idiot, I've been hit a few times, I already only have one Estus left, and we're not even making a dent in this level. So that was really fun. Didn't quite finish it off because it's quite a girthy boy.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was explaining to you, and people who already are familiar with the games will know this, when you play in co-op, it's not like someone acts as the host and you guys all play through the game together with that person being the one host.
Yeah.
You have to each act as the host in your own games. So you'll play through a level for someone, and then they'll play through the level for you, and then you'll play through the level for your third partner as well. Then you're all up to the same point, and you can continue. So it's basically playing through the game 3 times, which sounds tedious, but isn't actually that tedious because it means you get extra levels, and it's makes it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
But fantastic game. I really hope that they do another one, even though they said they wouldn't. And I hope Hidetaka Miyazaki comes back for it, but I kind of just want more Dark Souls at this point because he's making all sorts of interesting things that aren't really what I want.
Elden Ring.
So I kind of just want Dark Souls 4. Dark Souls 4. I'm sure they'll do it. I'm sure Bandai will do it, but we'll see. The other thing I played is Death Stranding.
Yes.
In a word, tedious.
Yeah.
Clarification-wise, not necessarily a bad thing. Because it is, I think, undeniably a tedious game in that you have to transport things from one place to another.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about the world, the environmental storytelling, the music, the
otter hat.
The weird Kojima story and characters. They're what's going to keep you engaged. It is undeniably not going to be for everybody in the same way that it is undeniably a tedious game. But I've certainly played games before where I have found them tedious, but I've found them strangely addictive.
Mm-hmm.
So Wolfenstein Youngblood is an example, where that game is objectively not good, but I still found myself seeing it through to the end because it was just kind of easy to play. And I'm not saying that this is easy to play, but there's ink monsters, and I am going to keep playing it. And we're going to stream some today.
We are.
And the VOD will be going up on Monday for people who miss it. But it's exactly what I expected it to be. It's just divisive. Not everyone. I think reviewers who play it have been able to appreciate, wow, this is, it's different and it's special, but it's not necessarily what I would call good.
Right.
Some people think it's the second coming of Jesus Christ.
They
as
do.
We've discussed before, we knew they would because it's Kojima. If this was released by anybody else, it wouldn't be.
No.
It wouldn't be appreciated in the same way. It might get, a few high review scores saying it's really interesting.
Yeah, they've gone really interesting.
Super interesting, but ultimately you are just carrying things around. But there were plenty of people in the chat when I was playing it who just loved it, who just thought it was amazing. But equally, there were about 70% of the chat saying, "What? What is happening? I don't understand."
And of those people who love it, there's some people who love it because they genuinely just think it's great, and even if it'd been made by someone else, they just think, "Oh, this is really subversive and interesting."
Yeah.
Whereas some other people kind of just love it because it is made by the second coming of Hideo Kojima.
Exactly. So jury is still out for me. I found it intriguing. I didn't dislike it, but I want to keep playing it, and I suppose that's a good thing. So I will see how I get on with it. I don't want people to think that I came into it with negative expectations, thinking, oh, this is going to be crap. I can't wait to hate on this. It's not that at all. It's just I was so burned out by MGS5.
Yeah.
And that got such high review scores. And it just made me sort of see through the veneer of Kojima is a genius. He's not. He's made something very interesting, and it's very competently made. But it's not going to be for everybody.
It's not work genius, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, probably the most interesting thing will be that when we stream it today, at time of recording, we'll be going into your save file that is just some way into the game. And although I watched the first 15 minutes of your stream, I then had to get back to work. So you're going to have to try and explain a Hideo Kojima game storyline to me while we're playing.
I will give you the crib notes.
Yeah.
So there was the bodies explode, the rain makes people old, there are whales, sometimes there's a baby inside you, in like your mouth area.
Yeah.
When you die, you go under the sea, and then you repatriate.
I saw that,
and you
yeah.
come back out again for some reason. The United States is broken. This is all in the first like hour. It's just throwing stuff at you like, oh God, please, Kojima, stop.
But in language that you're not necessarily going to understand until later in the game.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of, we're just going to use the jargon and not provide any helpful exposition whatsoever. You'll pick it up.
It's all very weird.
Oh, the timefall is coming. The what? Sorry?
Hello? Yeah, they're all just talking as if you know what it is. So you don't... I like games that are set in a strange place where the protagonist is relatable in that person is either new to that place, they've got amnesia, they've just woken up after cryo sleep or something, so you're at least in the boots of someone who you can relate to. And
they can provide that exposition without it feeling weird.
Yeah, but in like, it's just very Kojima. Like, even the interactions between characters feel weird sometimes and not human.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you must be the famous Sam Porter Bridges of the Bridges Company that transports stuff. And it's like, oh, Christ, there couldn't have been a better way to do this, maybe.
God.
It's not bad, but it's certainly
Worse
not
than most.
a 100% perfect game. Okay, excellent, good job, Hideo.
Sure.
But people will let that stuff slide because it's Kojima. So, I don't know. I'm not a Kojima fan, really. I like his old work. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's as great as everyone says he is. I think this game is interesting, and I'm really, really intrigued to see where it goes. But I am not promising that I'm going to sit through 50-odd hours of it.
Do not promise that.
Hopefully it grabs me. I want to like it. I don't want to dislike games. I just don't think it's as good as everyone who thinks it's good thinks it is.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
That was a Hideo Kojima sentence.
It was. It really was. God, that guy's name pops up like 20 times in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Casting director Hideo Kojima. A Hideo Kojima game.
By Kojima Productions.
Stop it. We know.
Oh, should we move on? We'll be back to Kojima and Death Stranding later, but for now, we've got a question here from Brian Cahill, or Cahill.
Brian Cahill.
Yeah.
So Brian says, hi guys, congrats on 40 episodes.
Wow.
We're 40 years old.
We've nearly caught up with Podiots.
It's unsurprising.
Yeah.
But there we go. With the release of Jedi Fallen Order, I've decided to replay Revenge of the Sith on PS2 because it's my favorite Star Wars game ever. However, many of my friends didn't play it or know it even existed. My question is this. Are there any hidden gems in famous franchises that you have played or have heard about that you think pass the majority of gamers by? Then it says something that I will not attempt to pronounce for fear of insulting people from Ireland, and apparently it says Irish for goodbye and take care, and that's from Because I'm Brian.
Slá agus...
Oh, here he goes. Come on then.
Slá agus Bannacht.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, there's a patron lost. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for the support you gave us while you were a patron.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
thank
Peter, are there any, for starters, Revenge of the Sith, did you ever play it?
I think I played it at a friend's house once. I never owned it. I think I played the first level that takes place at the start of the film where they go on Grievous's ship to rescue the Senate. Mm-hmm. He is the Senate.
He is, yeah.
Do it.
Do
it's
it.
that whole scene.
Yeah.
But then I might also be thinking of one of the first missions in Force Unleashed, which also takes place on a ship in space where you fight a Jedi, and then it's like crashing through the atmosphere, much like in the start of Revenge of the Sith.
I played the demo for the Force Unleashed so many times, and then the game just wasn't...
Was that the Vader Wookiees?
No, it was... You're just on... I think on a Star Destroyer,
right.
And you're just able to slice through stormtroopers, and you can like force grab them and like dangle them around and just throw them around. Oh, it was so cool. I played it, and then the game just wasn't quite as good as it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it was very janky. Like there were these sections where you would like be hopping from like one ledge to the next, and you'd be like sort of being pushed around a bit by bits of geometry and invisible walls, and thinking, oh, this can't be the way I'm supposed to go. And then it would turn out, oh no, yeah, this is actually, it's just really badly designed. Like the sort of the movement and traversal in that game was not good, I think.
Damn. See, I didn't experience that in the demo at least.
Right.
But I mean, the main game, it didn't review incredibly well, so there's clearly a reason for that. That and Batman Arkham Asylum, I think, are the demos that I played the most out of all of them. But Revenge of the Sith, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I had that. I can't really remember much about it, but I do remember playing the versus mode.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was just a one-on-one.
Oh, yeah,
I played that with my cousin.
That house as well, yeah.
Yeah, just on Mustafa, and with all the lava around you, and you're just like beating the crap out of each other with lightsabers and stuff. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was a good game.
I meant to say at a friend's house, but I did just say at a house.
At a house.
Oh, I played that at a house.
Oh, I played it at a house too.
Wow.
Were they
That's
the
fun.
same?
It might have been the same house.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I think it looks like a reasonably good Star Wars game. There've been some good ones and bad ones. In fact, a list went out this week. 10 great Star Wars games or awesome Star Wars games to play after Jedi Fallen Order.
Ah.
They're not necessarily the best 10 ranked from worst to best, because we will probably do an actual
ranked
massive list on that one day. But anyway, in answer to Brian's question, I brought 3 along from famous movie franchises. One of them is actually a Star Wars game from that video that I just mentioned.
Ooh, okay.
Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds is an RTS for the PC that was done in the Age of Empires engine.
Fantastic.
And it looks... You can just tell that it's done in that engine. It looks just like it, but it's just been completely reskinned into Star Wars form. There was a different RTS called Empire at War, which looks way better because it was made much later on. But I didn't have that, and I had Galactic Battlegrounds, and I put so many hours into it. There were campaigns for like every good and bad faction of every movie. So there were like 6 or 7 different campaigns. And there was this scenario editor where you could make your own levels. And obviously, I think the idea, the thing that like the developers probably thought people would make is just, build a bit of a base there and an enemy base there, and maybe give them some units and resources, and then off you go, play it like you would normally play an RTS level. But there was a big online community of the map makers, and there were some really clever ones where you would essentially be given a single unit that was like really pumped up and powerful. And so it would almost be like playing a top-down, almost like Diablo kind of game. So you would like be given just a Han Solo, and they would have built a whole like Mos Espa or Mos Eisley
cool.
street with like loads of neutral units just sort of wandering around, milling around like it's a really crowded area. And there's like speeders going up and down the roads. There were some really clever maps. So
that's awesome.
That was a great game. But two other quick ones that I think deserve a bit more love. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb.
Okay.
Actually plays pretty well. It sort of sounds and looks like it would just be a bad just Indiana Jones game that's not even linked to one of the movies.
Right.
But you've got your whip. You can do a load of swinging around on it. I remember you had... The health mechanic was pretty good. You had like a water flask. And you could fill it up at certain like fountains and ponds and stuff. And then you just drink water whenever you need it. And you see like the water gauge go down and your health gauge go up. So it's like it's kind of a portable medikit, but you have to sort of use it carefully because you don't know when your next source of water is going to come along.
That's cool.
And then the one other game that I really enjoyed was The Lost World on PS1, because you get to play as the dinosaurs as well as the humans.
Great.
So there's a level where you play, there's a couple of levels where you play as a raptor, and you're just running around this in-gen building, just killing all of these boys and girls. There's one where you play as a T-Rex, and you're just eating loads and loads of raptors. And when you play as the dinosaurs, there's a button, if you press R2, where you can just roar for no reason. It doesn't do anything.
Wow.
But
there's a button like that in Death Stranding as well.
Oh, yeah?
You just yell, "Hello, my name is Sam."
Wow.
And apparently people answer you at some point. But there's a roar button.
Okay, great. Well, so those are my 3 80s, 90s movie franchises, video games.
Those are all good ones.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, I found this a little bit difficult because I can't really remember any. But certainly in recent years, I would say that Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is often unfairly overlooked. I think that's a really good game. It definitely has some shortcomings. It has no end game. You finish it and you're like in your early 30s level-wise.
Right.
Whereas by the time I finished all of the side missions and all of the quests in Borderlands 3, I mean, I'm still playing them, and I've already hit the level cap. So it's... that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really to do once you've finished apart from start again.
Right.
But apparently it didn't have the greatest or the smoothest development cycle. But I think certainly in terms of humor and comedy, it's better than Borderlands 3.
Okay.
And I really liked it. I think it's a good one.
Oh, good.
I've also got down here Demon's Souls, because a lot of people can't play it because it was a PS3 exclusive and the servers are now off.
Right.
And that's a huge shame. You can just about emulate it if you do all the right things and tick all the right boxes, but PS3 emulators are not good on PC at all. They're not very reliable. But that game is a little janky in places, but it really holds up. It's so good, and as the original Souls game, it's definitely worth playing. But a lot of people, either through means of not having a PS3 or just jumping in on Dark Souls or Bloodborne or whatever, they just have never played it.
Yeah, I think it gets forgotten about a little bit, you know.
Yeah, it should be remembered. It's a great game, really good game with some really interesting mechanics that they didn't bring across into the later ones, like world tendency, which affects... It's affected by you dying.
Yeah.
And you can get pure black tendency or pure white tendency, and depending on where you are in those, certain areas, extra areas will be, like, gates will be open in certain levels, and certain items and enemies will appear. So you need to, in order to get the platinum, to get all the weapons and stuff, you need to get into every area, and you need to have the different tendencies of worlds, and that's something they never did in the other games. But it's just, again, it's just an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, I like that.
It's very clever. The last one, I haven't actually played myself, but Batman Arkham Origins.
Have you not played that?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Have you?
No, but it just surprises me that you haven't. I know you like your Arkies.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
You're an
Sounds like
Arkie,
a slur,
aren't you?
doesn't it? Yeah.
I'm really sad I never got around to playing it. I did actually own it on PS3, but I've heard so many good things, and it sounds, again, much like the pre-sequel. It gets a bad rap. It wasn't developed by Rocksteady. It's set over Christmas as well, which is fun.
Yeah.
And I would like to play it, but it just wasn't ported to PS4 along with the Return to Arkham collection or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
They just never brought it to PS4, otherwise I probably would play it.
Inexplicably, Mr. Freeze is not the main antagonist.
No, he's not.
In the
He's
Christmas
not.
Batman game.
But they do have villains that don't appear in the other Arkham games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's another one that kind of gets overlooked, which is a shame. But there we go. That's what I got.
We answered in slightly different ways there. I specifically went famous franchises as in film franchises, but you went gaming franchise. That's good. We got a nice little...
That's it.
We covered all basses there.
You did older ones. I did more contemporary ones.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Go us.
It wasn't weird at all.
Well, no, that wasn't. But I'm afraid it's about to get 2 times weird.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't mean 2 times as weird as that, because that was 0, and 2
Right,
times 0
that's
is
0.
is still 0. But I mean, because there's 2 of us, and we're both about
It's time for weird news.
Yep.
Peter, will you weird me?
I don't know.
Are you ready? You're sort of ready. He's sort of ready.
I nearly
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Is he
loading.
ready now? Are you ready now?
I'm not just ready. I'm Red Dead Redemption 2 news having.
Okay, go on.
Red Dead Redemption 2 fans spent over a year trying to find a fish.
Is this in online?
No.
Oh. Because it sounds like the kind of interesting stuff you would get up to in Red Dead Online.
With soup.
With soup.
The Wild West has its own version. I mean, it says here in the little subheading, the Wild West has its own version of the Loch Ness Monster, which makes it sound way more exciting than it is. It's not that. There's a giant, like, monster fish that people are trying to find, not some sort of plesiosaur. Anyway, I'll read it to you. Okay. In the age of data mining and viral posts, it's easy for wrong information to proliferate on the internet.
Oh, good word.
I know.
Proliferate or proliferate?
Proliferate.
Okay.
But when... did you say the same word twice?
No, I thought you said proliferate instead of
I certainly meant to say proliferate.
Okay, what are we lifferating?
When you read...
I'm anti-lifferate, actually.
But when you read something in an officially endorsed strategy guide, you expect the information within to be right. That's the whole point. And so when the Red Dead Redemption 2 guide stated that the Western game featured a legendary channel catfish, people believed it. Hell, there are countless online guides out there that seem to repeat what the official book says. It's an enormous creature that weighs in at nearly 200 pounds. You need a swamp lure to get it. Okay, great, sounds easy enough, says the article. This is according to Polygon, by the way, written by Patricia Hernandez.
Yes, not your Nandez.
Or his Nandez.
It's her Nandez.
It's her Nandez. Where was I?
Swamp lure.
So why has nobody caught this thing, even now, over a year later? For months, nobody knew the answer to this question. But now that the PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2 is out there, players can peruse the game's files to see what's hidden. And, as it turns out, the channel catfish is in the game.
Oh.
There's a model and everything, although it doesn't look quite right.
Oh, no.
It looks sad.
That looks like a partially deflated helium balloon.
It's sort of got a waspish waist. Its hips just go into zero.
There aren't any fish that look like that, are there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But there's no actual way to catch the behemoth. Instead, all you can do is partake in the associated quest, where a fisherman named Jeremy Gill asks you... Gill.
God's sake, Rockstar.
Asks you to accompany him while he goes hunting. Gill wants you to take a picture of him capturing the channel catfish, so that others might believe his stories about being a skilled fisherman. Gill does indeed get the catfish to bite, only to be sucked into the water, never to be seen again.
Oh my goodness.
The implication is the catfish ate him, leaving nothing behind but a feathered hat. From there, people assumed that the quest would trigger the release of the catfish, which you might be able to find on your own. Perhaps the catfish might put up a fight, given the cutscene and known weight. Perhaps the bounty might be hard to find, given that it's supposed to be a catfish in a desert. But if the guide says it's in there, and the game outright has a quest about said catfish, you should be able to catch it, right? Unfortunately, the whole thing seems to be a mix-up. Players are able to force the game to spawn the fish, but as far as they can tell, it doesn't ever appear naturally.
So it's a lie then?
It's a lie. There are actually two versions of the fish in the game's files. So the person writing the article assumes that maybe once upon a time there was going to be something further use for this, but it just never really made it into the game.
It was cut.
Yeah, but that's the thing is with these GTA games, or these Rockstar games, sorry, I should say, is it's always hard to tell like whether something is just a complete urban legend or whether there could be something real, because they know that people kind of go in for this kind of thing. The reason I say GTA accidentally was because of the Bigfoot and stuff like that. And in GTA 5, are you aware of the Rat Man?
No.
In like the sewers, there's like various clues and bits of evidence that there's a rat man in the sewers.
Huh.
And I saw this video online where someone was walking past this little pipe that went off the side of the wall that had bars on it, so you can't get in there. But whenever they walk past this area, it would trigger a really quiet sound effect of this man going like, which is really horrible.
That is horrible.
But there's not an actual Ratman model, I don't believe.
Wow.
In the game.
So there's no catfish, really? The file is there, but you can't actually catch the catchfish.
You can't catch it. But there is a sad-looking model of it, and there is a.
It's a really sad-looking model.
There's a quest relating to it.
It looks incomplete. The model looks unfinished. Weird.
So yeah, weird. That was a weird news for you.
Super weird. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This weird news comes from Kotaku.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Alistair Jones.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready for this?
I am.
Here it goes. I'm just scrolling. Here we go. Monster Energy stocks reach month-long high after Death Stranding release.
Oh, God, yeah. I noticed. I forgot that was in the game, and then when I was watching your first few minutes, it said, press this to drink Monster Energy drink. I was like, oh, It's actually Monster.
So he drinks from a canteen in the game, and I was like, okay, that's not quite as insidious, but also that's still pretty bad. But then there is just a proper gratuitous close-up on Monster Energy drink cans, like shortly after.
God.
And if people think that's kind of appalling, Kojima has a track record for this, and we did a list about shameless product placement in video games that you can go and watch if you want. And he, Doritos in Metal Gear Solid before Doritos even existed in the real world. Why not? Go watch it.
Before they exist in the real world?
Yeah, you could get like chili heatwave Doritos in the 70s or something. Which I don't think is real.
I thought you meant it was before Doritos had been actually invented.
No, Hideo Kojima did not invent Doritos in Metal Gear Solid.
I thought he knew they were coming out soon, but I was like, sure, Doritos are probably decades old.
They were in Peace Walker, which I think is set before. I don't know. I might be wrong. Either way, he's an idiot. Yeah. Take that. Boo.
Wow. Okay.
I still don't know much about Death Stranding, but a few details have made their way into my consciousness over the past week or so. Babies, Bridges, and Norman Reedus have all featured prominently, as has a strange fascination with Monster Energy drinks. I was under the impression that Death Stranding took place after some apocalyptic event. From what I've seen so far, however, that event didn't extend to the Monster Beverage Corp, whose products Sam Bridges seems to slam back with little regard for his blood pressure. It would seem that this particular product placement hasn't gone unnoticed by consumers, as the company's stock price surged during Death Stranding's release window. As noted on the game's subreddit via US Gamer, the price jumped by nearly $3 between November the 7th and November the 8th, the day the game arrived on PS4.
Wow.
It's dropped a little since then, but it's still at its highest value in nearly 6 weeks. Now, it's entirely possible that this is all a coincidence, but the timing is so perfect that I'm going to choose to ignore that possibility.
God.
There we go.
I wish I'd invested now in Monster Energy drink.
You should have done. Now's the time to do it.
Sell. If anyone listening has shares in Monster Energy drinks, it's time to sell now.
Oh, Kotaku's website is freaking out because adverts.
Oh, okay.
They're so intrusive. I just remember there being...
whatculture.com.
Oh, God. That is the worst website I've ever used. There was a comment underneath that... Let me see if I can find it. That sort of summed it up nicely. Mm-hmm. Here we go. This nugget of trivia somehow makes me want to play the game even less than I did.
This nugget of trivia. Monster Energy drinks and trivia nuggets.
I love trivia nuggets. What have you had for your breakfast? I had a nutritious bowl of trivia nuggets, of course. No.
They taste yeehaw. Am I right?
Golden nuggets. Wow, what a treat. Okay, that's my weird news.
That was pretty weird. We've got a question.
We do.
It's from Mother of Tiny Birds.
Tiny bird seeds.
I sent Michael tiny bird seeds. Oh, no.
Oh, you okay?
Kojima, I nearly read the next question.
Oh.
Which video game character would you cosplay as?
Ooh.
Firstly, if someone were making the costume for you, with money and complexity being no object. And secondly, if you had to make it yourself.
Oh, cosplay is complicated and requires a great deal of skill.
It's cosplacated.
It's cosplacated that I absolutely do not possess.
No.
So if we're talking in terms of someone would make it for me, in terms of things, basically, what would you like to dress up as? I have two.
Yeah.
The first one is a fairly obvious one because it's a blonde man with a beard,
right,
which kind of solves all of my issues in one go. And that's Zane from Borderlands 3, the operative. I think that would be a cool one. I'd need to get maked up to look all inked, not cel-shaded.
No, inked.
Inking is the method, thank you very much. So I'd probably go for Borderlands 3 Zane. However, if I could just have a cool thing made for me, I would quite like the Faram armor from Dark Souls 2 and 3. And that is one that I will load for you now. It's very cool looking. It's my favorite armor. It's my favorite thing that Dark Souls 2 did, actually, was introduce that armor.
Right.
It's the armor from the box art and various collectibles that came out and stuff.
Okay.
But what would be the one, if money was no object and someone made you a cosplay, what would it be, Peter?
I didn't pick one that I wish I could be, but I don't have the money or the skill for it. I just picked the most overblown, wild, crazy thing that I would be on all the social media coverage of that convention that I was at.
Yeah.
I picked Tekken 6's Azazel, which is the boss from Tekken 6, a character who no one knew about before because he'd never been in any previous games, and no one really knows or cares about now.
Azazel.
I will pull him up for you. He's about 12 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
He's a sort of pink crocodile rock lizard with a big Egyptian sort of headdress on.
He sounds amazing.
He's got a big tail and a sort of beaky blinders.
Beaky blinders.
Yeah, Tekken 6.
There's the forearm armor, by the way.
Azazel. Let me see this.
Wow. He's got like a mohawk on the helmet, and he's got fluffy ruffs on his shoulders.
Fluffer ruffs.
And sort of a blue tunic that goes around. I just think it's a very striking, cool-looking armor.
He'd be nice and warm as well.
He could, if it had some modernization applied to it, it could probably make quite a Sith Lord in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's probably what I would go for in terms of self-indulgence. I would get someone to turn me into a really cool-looking,
Star Wars
Jedi or Sith. But yeah, this is Azazel.
Oh, wow, that's big.
Can you even tell, what... I mean, that's just a massive...
I can make out the shape, kind of.
Yeah, he's got his weird...
He looks a bit like a
Egyptian headdress.
spooky Souls boss.
Yeah, he does, actually, yeah. It is a bit like going as a Souls boss.
If he weren't pink, he would just sort of dripping in blood and gore and viscera.
What about if it was on you?
If it was on me?
To make yourself a costume.
I'd need a wig, but... and this is absolutely nothing against people who have cosplayed as this person in the past, but I think it would be extremely achievable for me to go as Naked Snake from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, yeah.
/ Big Boss with the bandana and the eye patch. He's already got a beard.
Yeah.
And he basically just wears a camo.
Yeah.
and he carries a knife.
True.
And that would kind of be it. Maybe a little bit of face paint. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that I could do myself.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
maybe
think you could.
I think it's that's within my my skill set to put that together.
Just looking at you now as well, I think if you cropped your beard right down, if you shaved it pretty close, and then sort of dyed your hair and beard dark, you could probably get away with a Joel outfit.
Oh, maybe.
Just because sort of the shape of your head is quite similar.
I got that big Joel energy.
Yeah.
That BJE.
I decided that if I had to make my own costume, what I would do is invest in a crown from a fancy dress
real
shop.
Crown.
A real crown.
Yeah, so the first step is we're going to the Tower of London.
Yeah, we're going to steal the crown jewels. I would then buy a large bed sheet, and then I would eat loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of fast food until I was morbidly obese.
Okay.
I would then put
I'm on board with all... I'm willing to do this with you at this point.
I would then put the sheet over me and the crown, and hey presto, I'm King Boo. You wouldn't even have to do the fast food if you did. I mean, we all want to, but you could just get some sort of space hopper under your shirt.
Yeah, no, I think you should do the first one.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds way more fun.
Just a fat ghost.
Yeah, and then you will have eaten so much in such a short amount of time that there's a high chance that you'll never have to worry about doing a cosplay ever again.
Well, I thought you were going to say...
Because you'll die.
There's a high chance I'll die, and then I'll be a real ghost.
Yeah, well, you won't have to be King Boo.
No.
You'll be King Dead.
King Peter. Yeah, well, that's my...
Excellent.
That's my low effort choice.
Well,
just eat fast food and buy a sheet.
I'll just wear army camo.
Yeah.
You just wear a sheet. We can do that, I think.
Perfect.
Thank you, mother of tiny birds. Peter, it's time.
It is.
It's big and it's round and it's a boo discussion. It's a big discussion. It's time for a big discussion. Are you ready?
It's from Xavi Ramis.
Chav Ramirez.
Yeah.
Ramirez.
Xavier Ramirez.
Yes.
Lovely, loyal patron.
Loyal, good boy.
You should read this
Handsome
one.
man.
I read Mother of Tiny Birds.
Very tall. Buys lots of drugs for children because they need them
What,
and
the
they
good
can't.
ones or
Yeah,
bad
insulin.
Right, okay.
He buys lots of insulin for children.
Yeah.
And a bit of meth.
Not diabetic
What?
children. He just gives insulin to children
hey,
who don't
kid,
need it.
Here, kid, he says with a wink.
Yeah.
And then he flips a needle towards them.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Xavier, stop, though. Kojima blames Stinky Cod Boys for mediocre reviews for Death Stranding. Sorry, everyone's still talking about this game. That was the wrong cadence. Sorry, everyone's still talking about this game. Many seem to feel that he is being pretentious, but could it be a mistranslation? Or is he being this pompous?
Good question, Zavs.
Well, I suppose we should dive right in, shouldn't we, with the metro.co.uk.
Yes.
Should we take a paragraph each?
Why not? Metro says, It seems Hideo Kojima may not be taking the negative reviews of Death Stranding very well, after he appeared to dismiss American critics and imply that they did not fully understand the game. I don't think anyone does.
No.
I have to say that the game received enthusiastic reviews, especially in Europe and Japan. Here in the United States, on the other side, we had stronger criticism, he told Italian website TGCom24. So this has presumably been translated from Japanese into Italian into English.
Yes, basically.
Right.
Maybe this is a game that is difficult to understand for a certain type of critic or audience. Americans are big fans of first-person shooters, and Death Stranding is not. It is flying higher, sorry. It is flyer higher.
Do you want to do a little bit more up to Avid
I'll do
Kojima?
a little bit more.
Yeah.
I always try to create new things, and disputes and discussions are fine, but it must be said that the Italians or the French have a different artistic sensibility that allows them to appreciate this kind of very original products, added Kojima.
That's a pretty patronising point of view, and while Kojima was no doubt playing up to the Italian journalists he was talking to, it does not sound like he's taken the many criticisms of the game to heart. There's another obvious problem with his comments too, in that the split between American and European reviewers doesn't really exist. For every 6.8 from IGN, there was a 9 out of 10 from GameSpot, and there were also plenty of European websites that marked it down, including Games Radar, VG247, and VGC. Metro also only gave it a 7 out of 10.
So that's the basic story. We should say that currently on Metacritic it's sitting at 83%. IGN was an outlier in terms of its lowness of the score.
Yeah.
But it seems that Kojima is just sort of implying that, well, they're American, they don't get it. But then it seems a lot of Europe doesn't get it either. And then, we've spoken at great length about, is he just kind of full of himself because people describe him as a genius all the time, and he's like, please, thank you. No, keep going. He's never really said, I'm not that anyone should. If someone called me a genius, I'd feel pretty uncomfortable. Like if someone sincerely called me a genius, not that I've done anything deserving of that level of praise, it would make me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
I'd tell them to, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. I feel uncomfortable when people thank us for what we do.
Yeah.
Just being in this studio recording stupid noises. So that is something to bear in mind, is that he does sort of have previous with not being humble.
I hate this attitude, though. I mean, so I think we're going to move on to the fact that translation-wise, we might not have the full story so far, and we will go on to that. But certainly from what we've read thus far, I hate this attitude, whether or not it's true, that some people take, whether it's Kojima or otherwise, that, oh, well, I've made this thing, I think it's really good. And if you don't like it, it's because you don't get it.
You don't get it.
And as I say, whether Kojima thinks that or not, certainly his fans often think that.
Yes, that's become very clear.
Not just with Death Stranding, but with a fair few Metal Gear Solid games as well. If you sort of say, oh, well, that was a bit weird, that thing that happened, or that's the worst game in the series, it's like, well, I think you don't really understand it. You need to go through it, and have you played this other game that, this spin-off or whatever? One of the early ones on.
Have you read the comics?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for weird, subversive games. I genuinely do like them, but this cult of personality that Kojima has around him is kind of just misplaced, really.
Yeah.
He's not amazing, and this is one of the first games that he's ever made, or at least certainly in recent memory, that's not been in the mid to high 90s in terms of scoring.
True.
And I don't think he's... You probably find it hard... I'd find it hard to believe that he is taking it in stride, given what we know about him and his reactions and behavior in the past, and also the reception to his previous work as well.
Yeah.
He probably was hoping for perfect scores across the board.
But I was just about to say... He doesn't need to feel that bad. If it's on Metacritic, it's got 83%.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's still a pretty good thing. And he knows that it's... Well, I'd like to think he knows that it's an unusual, subversive game. So he should, take heart the fact that, you got 83%. Don't... It's infuriating that like anything less than perfect, he is apparently unhappy with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's just him, though, isn't it? That just appears to be him. That's That's his whole deal, is being the auteur, the OG, the genius.
Yeah.
You know? That's just his whole persona. And I'd like to think that's not the case, as we will explore now with this follow-up from Kotaku. Major sites like IGN proceeded to weigh in with translations. So this is, continuing on in terms of, was it mistranslated? And now, because of course it is, because it's Kojima, everyone's weighing in with their own opinions and translations. Like, oh, maybe it means this, maybe it means that. And it's the kind of usual crap that's reserved for his games, but apparently now that reserves everything he says, everything the man says apparently has Easter eggs in it now.
Yeah, we're having to collaboratively unpack not just Death Stranding, but a statement he made to an Italian news site.
Yeah, just to see if he insulted people.
Yeah.
Major sites like IGN proceeded to weigh in with translations that put a different slant on Kojima's assessment, removing his declaration that Death Stranding flies higher. Instead, according to IGN, Kojima merely stated that Americans are some of the biggest first-person shooter fans and Death Stranding isn't that. In other words, it's unfamiliar, not necessarily better or worse.
How do you go from isn't that to flies higher?
I don't know. Then Sony itself got in on the action, retranslating that last line as, in America, there are a lot of FPS fans. Maybe those fans are saying this is like a different game and are not rating it very high. So more or less the same meaning as IGN's, albeit with additional flavor and context. It's unclear whether they accessed Kojima's original Japanese or not. Kotaku's Natalie de Graffenried, I believe, I'm so sorry, who speaks Italian, also took a crack at translating the quote. Here's what she came up with. I have to say that the game has received enthusiastic reviews, especially in Europe and Japan. Here in the United States, however, we've received stronger criticisms. Maybe it's a difficult game to understand for a certain type of critic and the public in America. And the public. In America, there are many fans of first-person shooters, and a lot of them wish that Death Stranding were a different game, maybe for that reason. These are sort of contextual words that have been inserted to make the sentence make sense. They didn't give higher scores. Maybe for that reason they didn't give higher scores. So there we go. And apparently this kind of stuff has happened before because he has a Japanese and an English Twitter account that can sometimes come off as abrupt or rude, and translation errors, they exist, they're real, and I understand them, but God.
And especially sort of Eastern to West, that's a bit of a generalization, but sort of Eastern to Western-ish languages, it's quite, there's that infamous thing where you take an English sentence, translate it into Japanese or Chinese, one of the Chinese languages, and then back to English over and over. And I think there's an actual app that does it. It keeps doing it back and forth until it has found a loop. And by the end, it's just a completely different sentence.
Yeah.
Like all the nouns are just, somehow a cow got in there. Where did the cow come from?
Yeah.
So it's gone from Japanese to Italian and then to English, which is why you just read out 3 actually quite different statements, or certainly wording anyway. The wording was very different.
The implication and the meaning behind them came off differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so undeniably, translation is almost certainly an issue here. But, as we've discussed, Kojima will not correct people when they call him a genius, and so I would be shocked if he is not saddened by the lack of perfect scores for his game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This is a subversive and divisive game. Some people are going to love it because they genuinely love it. Some people are going to love it because it's Kojima. Yeah. Some people are going to hate it because it's Kojima. And some people are going to hate it because they genuinely hate it.
Yeah.
There's going to be very few people who play this game and think, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
This is you are going to swing one way or the other on this one.
No, that's very true.
And I'm going to try very hard to report back next week having played more. And you'll at the very least be able to give some thoughts because you're about to watch 2 hours of it this afternoon.
Yeah. And going into it, I know obviously we've talked a lot about this game in the lead up to release, and I have been, unashamedly saying I'm not looking forward to this. However, I'm not going to go in and look for actual, reason. Like you said, I'm not going to go in and try and hate it, but I'm just pretty sure that I will dislike it a lot But
it's very different from Spyro.
yeah, it probably is. But I also hasten to add, it's not because it's Kojima either. I think that Kojima, I really liked Metal Gear Solid 1, and I think that, I will always just see what he's doing next, just to see, is it going to be less wild this time and a bit more for me? However, I think, number one, the content in general, I just think objective or subjectively, I suppose, I will not like. But number two, while I don't have a problem with Kojima, I do have a problem with his cult. And
right.
that does sort of, I can't help but dislike the game a little bit more because of those people, even though that shouldn't really sway me on the quality of the game. But
I mean, it's for the same reason that I'm not quite as in love with Star Wars as I was when this new trilogy began, just because the fan base is so toxic.
Oh, it's dreadful. It's like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that too. It just kind of ruins things a little bit.
By middle of season 2, I was like, wow, okay, screw these guys.
People are just throwing bottles at each other back and forth on the internet about, no, it's stupid, or no, it's genius, you just don't get it. And I just think both arguments are crap, and people should really experience it. You're okay to not want to try it, but if you're going to have a proper opinion about it, then you need to experience it for yourself and decide, okay, I actually don't like this, or I actually really like this.
Yeah.
But attacking people, I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you think about Death Stranding and all of the Death Stranding related nonsense we've discussed today in the comments below, or alternatively out of the other methods that Peter is about to describe to you.
I'm about to describe them right now. So the comments below happen on youtube.com/Team TripleJump. We also are on Twitch producing content. That's twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. Our mods over there are Lord Brotovich and Cecil Prumps. And also on YouTube when we're live streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, as we'll be doing today.
Our social media, if you want to comment there instead, is twitter.com and facebook.com/Team TripleJump. The Facebook friend is Luke Eldon, who is continuing to kick bottoms.
Yes, he is.
There and do a good sock med. If you want to submit a question for the podcast, you can do so over at patreon.com. /Team TripleJump. There's all kinds of other awards as well, including an exclusive room in our Discord, which is bit.ly/Team TripleJump. And the mods over there are Jack and Joe, and now also introducing Crimson Dragonfly.
That's it. That's what it says.
I was thinking of the word Jack again. Crimson Dragonfly, new mod. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
The podcast, if you're watching on video, is available in audio form at play.acast.com/TripleJump. And finally, the website is tripleJ.mup, where we have a shop and sometimes a careers page, but not right now.
Not right now.
No.
Thank you so much, Pete.
Thank you.
Instagram, if you'd like to follow us, at @ThatPeterAustin and @BenPotter20, and on Twitter at @ThatPeterAustin and @confused_dude. We post little teasers sometimes on Instagram and Twitter about what's coming up and what we're going to be doing soon on the channel, including lists, which are every Tuesday and Thursday, streams every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Monday and Tuesday being solo streams on Twitch, and Thursday being a joint stream, Blaze It, on YouTube. We have a special console now.
Yes, we do.
Called a Stream Deck. And it lets us press buttons and make things happen. And we have an actual 420 Blaze It button that makes an animation happen. So you need to come and see that. It's worth the price of admission just for that. I promise. Just come and see it.
The price of admission is nothing.
Worst Games is fortnightly. This week is a Worst Games week.
Yes,
if you are a patron of a certain tier, what tier is that? Is it $5 or $10?
$5.
Just $5. You get it two days early on Friday. So you will have already watched it, hopefully. And the podcast is every Saturday. Please leave a review/rating on your platform of choice, maybe iTunes. So it helps, something to do with algorithms.
Yes.
Now, finally, I've got a couple of things to say before we go. Not only is it a Worst Games Ever week, but it's also a Rules Boss week.
Oh.
We had a Rules Boss. So if you're a patron, not only did you get Worst Games Ever, but you also got Rules Boss on the same night.
Pow.
Take that. Right
in the kisser.
Peter was in a box. Speaking of Hideo Kojima, Peter was in a box playing Metal Gear Solid. So
Mugs.
Please go and watch that. And as you may have seen on the channel, we announced that Worst Games Ever submissions are now open. So the address for our office has always been publicly available, but now we are actively encouraging you to send stuff if you would like to. There's only a specific window, though, that we're accepting that until... Because we're going to make a video, aren't we, of us opening the stuff, put that out about Christmas time.
Yeah.
And mainly we're after new worse games to play if you'd like to send stuff in. But equally, we'll gladly accept anything that you would like to send us. You are also generous and lovely. Thank you so much. But Peter, when is the cutoff and where can they send it?
This is very important. We cannot open anything after not on camera, on the 30th of November. Okay, so anything received after that will not be opened on camera. We have to just do that, otherwise people will continue to send stuff forever, and we're very grateful, but we don't have enough room.
There's not enough room
in this building, which is at this address. Do you want to read it together?
Yes. The TripleJump Xmas Appeal, Cultaholic Ventures Limited, 6 Mailing Court.
That's Mailing.
Union Street, Newcastle upon Tyne, NE2 1BP, United Kingdom. Or just Kingdom soon, I'm not sure.
Yeah, possibly.
One of those ones.
I like that it ends 1BP because the Blue Peter address used to end 6BP.
Did it?
Yeah, and I remember that because it's BP Blue Peter. I don't know if that was intentional. I think it probably was.
And we've also got one Ben Potter as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That too.
Yeah, B Poots.
Yeah.
And Biney Peter.
And Biney Peter. Ben Peter. One Ben Peter. That's what it says there. Finally, we wrap up with our sponsor again for the show, which is the Gala Region Tourism Board. There we go. Would you like to catch Pokemon in the rain?
Yeah.
Come to Gala Region. Pokemon Sword and Shield out now. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Goodbye.